Hiya! In this video I'm going to show you how to add a few finishing touches to the house you've created using polygons. So in this video we're going to have a look at how to use straight lines and how to use polygons when they're a little bit more complex. So start with the house that you created just using polygons, and I'm going to turn the grid and the axes back on again so that I can see where I need to plot my points. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here to form the top of the house and the bottom of the roof. So if this line was infinitely long, the equation of the line would be y equals 4. So you can type that in, check it's at the right height, and then all you need to do is tell Desmos that you only want it to plot it between x is 0 and x is 5. So open up curly brackets this time, so that's shift, and then it's next to my P on my keyboard, and I'm going to type 0 is less than x, which is less than 5. So you're writing an inequality here to show that you want to only plot this line for x values that are between 0 and 5. And if you look, the line now only goes between the two edges of the house. You can then click and hold it to change the format. I'm going to use the same method to start drawing the stem and leaves of my little flower that I want to put down here. So I'd like the stem of the flower to go straight through x is 6. So that's x equals 6. But obviously I don't want it to be that long. I only want it to be plotted between y is 0 and up to about here. So y is 0.6. So these limits do not need to be integer values. And then I'm going to click and hold that to change it to green because I want it to be part of my flower. So the next thing I want to do is draw two lines to represent the leaves of the flower. So these can be a little bit harder to imagine, but I want to draw a line that goes from here and across my squares. So have a play around with lines that you think work and consider where would the line go if you extended it along your page. Would it have a positive or a negative gradient? So I want it to have, it's going to have a negative gradient, and I can imagine that this line is probably going to go all the way up here and cut through at y equals 6. So try something like y is minus x plus 6. That looks great to me in terms of the angle that it's forming. I just want to restrict how much Desmos plots of this line. So I'm going to restrict it using x values again. So I'm going to restrict it so it plots just between x is 5.4 and 6. So just this tiny section. I'm then going to want another leaf on the other side, so it's a reflection of this line. So y equals, let's have a positive gradient. And if you think about this line, if I just put y equals x in, it's way too high. If you imagine the line I want is going to be here, it will go all the way down and cut beneath the current view that I've got. So it must be x minus 6 to get it in the right place. So they're going to restrict where Desmos plots that so that it only goes between 6 and 6.6. And then click and hold to change the colour. Then the last little finishing touches I want are to add an actual flower to the top here. So I'm going to do that using a polygon, so the same method we used in the last video. I'm just going to kind of imagine where I want that to go. And then I'm going to add a chimney. So up here, add a table. And this is just about playing around with the coordinates till you get the correct shape. But don't forget, if you're not happy with the coordinates that you type in, you can always change them. So what I've done there is put in the coordinates that I thought I was going to want for my flower, and I just wanted to highlight to you that even if I did that and then typed in the word polygon with the correct headings for that table, and it wasn't until that point that I noticed I'd done something wrong, it doesn't matter. So I could suddenly realise that's not what I wanted my shape to look like. I need to edit this point. So I didn't mean to put 2, I meant to put 1. You can do it at that point. Once the polygon's been drawn, it might be easier to see, and then you can change how the polygon looks in exactly the same way you would have done before. My last little finishing touch is going to be to add a chimney, so I'm going to use the polygon tool to do that. So I'll just quickly run through it. Now this last coordinate is quite hard to place exactly on the line, so as we said before, just have a go. try a coordinate out that you think is correct. I think that's slightly above the line. When I worked it out using algebra, kind of have to go to 5.28, but 5.3 would be perfectly sufficient for you to get your polygon to sit where you need it to sit. So the headings in this table were x5 and y5. Close that and just check and see if I like the way that looks. If you do want to adjust it slightly, you could be really accurate and make it 5.28. Once again, I'm going to hide the grid and the axes, and then I'm going to make sure that I have named this graph, so house and flower. And if I want to share it with somebody, I'm going to click this little icon in the top right hand corner and copy the link. Right, I really hope that gives you lots of inspiration to create some really amazing pieces of art using Desmos. Good luck!